Call meeting. I'm going to call this meeting to order. We are having a special call meeting of the Commissioner Court of Hood County held here in the Emergency Operations Center located at 401 Deputy Larry Miller Drive, Granbury, Texas, 76048. I would request Commissioner Samuelson, would you be willing to do an invocation?
Heavenly Father, thank you for everything that you provide for us on a daily basis, for sending your Son to die for our sins. Thank you for this beautiful weather and rain that we've had. Please be with us today as we go through this plan and ensure that we are doing the right things for the citizens of Hood County. I'm going to add a prayer that Justice Clarence Thomas said as he went into the Supreme Court. God grant us the wisdom to know the truth and the courage to do it. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge of the United States.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Business to be discussed today is to review the Master Thoroughfare. This is a Master Thoroughfare Plan Workshop results. Prioritize corridors on the Master Thoroughfare Plan, and I'll turn it over to Commissioner Samuelson.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner Eagle. Ryan and Clint have put together the results of the workshop that we had in April, and we have, does everyone have, it's either up on the board or hard copy or up on the screen. They've, the dotted lines are the results of the things that commissioners added or the judge added from April, and I'm going to turn it over to Ryan to lead us through what he would like from us today.
Sure. Okay, so let's see who all we have in here today. I guess not as many as we had at the workshop, but if you guys remember, we had the workshop back in April. I think it was April the 4th, so early April, almost 2 months ago. Since then, we distributed the meeting summary, which hopefully everyone's gotten a copy of. I think I distributed it to the steering committee. That included kind of what was discussed, what some of the issues that were brought, that the steering committee brought to the meeting countywide that needed to be addressed. Along with that, we kind of summarized some of the proposed improvements and alternatives that were proposed to solve some of those issues that were brought forward. We compiled that into a package. It's both written, we've got the written summary that we can go through today. If I can find my mouse, there we go. I don't know that we want to read through this whole document, but the improvement alternatives is summarized on this map. And so there's a numbering system on the map. Some of these routes are solid red lines. Those are indicative of current roadways that exist that just need more capacity, or there's been congestion identified on that road. The dotted red lines would be representing new routes or new roads to be implemented as part of the MTP. All of the red lines have a number associated with them. Those numbers are correlated to these improvement alternatives. So you notice these improvement alternatives have a numbering from 1 to 18. So the map correlates these improvements to where it's located on the map and what that's going to look like. So this is the summary of the feedback we received in April. Since then, we've met with COG 2 weeks ago. It was Nanette, Clint, myself, some of the TNP team met with the COG team that's going to be doing all the modeling. just to discuss status, what they've been working on, discuss next steps, and help us kind of figure out what we need to accomplish before we schedule workshop 2. One of the things that COG brought to our attention or requested from the county is that we take this meeting summary that we developed, all the feedback that we got from workshop 1, and bring it before the court, get the court's concurrence that we're good with the alternatives. If there was any alternatives that we wanted to eliminate, this would be the opportunity to eliminate them. This would also be an opportunity to prioritize routes that we want COG to model as part of their analysis. So a few of the priorities that we identified in our meeting with COG 2 weeks ago were number 1, which was basically represented down here on the southeastern part of the county near Pecan Plantation. Concern was brought up that Pecan Plantation currently just has 2 access points, one to the west at Membrino Highway out to 144, and then the other one is located here, and it crosses the river and goes north to Fall Creek Highway. What there doesn't currently exist is an access point to the south or the east, which the reason that was brought up as an important alternative to look at is in case there was an emergency where from the nuclear plant and there was needing to be evacuation to the south and east away from that area. There currently is not a good evacuation route, and so that would provide additional access points south to 67, east to Chisholm Trail. Another location that was brought up as a priority 2 weeks ago in our meeting with COG, and this is feedback from, I think, Clint, you kind of identified some of these, but was number 4. Let me see if I can zoom in. My mouse, I apologize, my mouse was not working, so I'm using the touchpad today.
Number 4 was actually one the net suggested is partially in the city and partially in the county. And I agree that it's access at a school that only has one way in and one way out.
Right. So this would be to extend Pirate Drive, to connect with Misty Meadow Drive, and provide additional access to the school. And that would be this little connection here. Number 7, and again, these are just priorities that we discussed 2 weeks ago. We can discuss, the goal for today would be to identify maybe some additional priorities that we want to list and provide COG. But
Does the numbering reflect the priority? Or
the numbering does not.
Okay.
The numbering has no bearing on priority at this point. It was just, we just started from in our notes from the first alternative that was identified to the last. And so the numbering doesn't really represent priority at all. We can renumber them after this meeting if we want to be priority. So another one that was identified as of importance is number 7. And this would provide additional north and south connectivity to 377 on the east side of the county without having to go back towards 144 or use Fall Creek Highway. So it would just provide an additional north-south route to distribute some of that traffic and reduce congestion.
Jack, this is most of the, he knows there's lots of new development going on
Yep.
right in that area.
Yeah, it's just west of where y'all got it coming out.
And then 14 was another one, was the last one we kind of talked about 2 weeks ago. But it was an additional crossing of the river here at Mitchell Bend, south to using this County Road 326. That would ultimately provide an additional route to 67 and then east to Chisholm Trail.
Is there any way to rate that as a Class A for highway?
Well, that's classification is something that we need to coordinate through COG and TxDOT. One important thing we did discuss, I think COG had brought it up in one of our previous meetings, was that in order to be eligible for federal funds, these routes need to be identified as a major collector or higher on TxDOT's.
See, Clinton, I've been working on this for well over 2 years now, for, specifically, this.
From a
And
funding standpoint, we'd like to see that to be a FM or a highway, or just a highway.
then if you go with, this extension here also, then, that will help both, all of these people here going out and back this way. The only real thing that's still left to be addressed is the ingress and egress out of Pecan.
Right.
But,
And then getting Johnson County on board to match us at the county line.
Right. And so Johnson County is currently updating their MTP. We also coincidentally met, or COG was meeting with the city of Granbury, which I don't know if there's anybody from Granbury here today. Doesn't look like it. The city of Granbury is also updating their comprehensive plan and their MTP as we speak as well. So it's going to be important for us to coordinate with them.
because, go back, right here, this area right here is what, Nanette was referring to a minute ago. That is, there's 75 homes going in there, and right now they're actually widening, Highway 4 right here
Putting a turn lane in.
for turn lanes right now. I mean, they're literally, they've already cut down and they're, moving the culverts today.
Is that being paid for by the developer, I would assume?
Yes.
Right. But, the traffic on that road is, has already been, massive for quite some time, but now it's gonna definitely, become even more so with that.
There's been a lot of people killed in that quarter-mile stretch.
And then at this intersection here, this is Highway 4 and 167, right here, they, TxDOT's already done the study, they're looking at, right-of-way acquisition to put a red light with a dedicated turn lane right here. That's already been processed.
And that's where that bridge by the cemetery?
Right, right there, the cemetery's right here.
Just
It'll be
south.
right here, and then, work that. So that's part of what's already been processed. The turn lane right here at the triangle is also, gonna be that. And then up here on, right here, this intersection, Acton Highway and Highway 4, the county's already put in dedicated turn lane for right and left going off of Acton Highway onto 4, and waiting on TxDOT to put the light in. They say they're waiting on some material to put the light in. There'll be a red light right there also. That's already, been approved and just waiting on material.
Now,
I think something to consider, that anything that you're gonna bring off of 144 going back into residential, if we don't get that made into a major thoroughfare highway, because as soon as people find about it, they're gonna be taking trucks through residential, try to get across and get around, not go through town. So that's gonna have to be some emphasis put on TxDOT that whatever comes off 144 to get around the city, whether we go across through Pecan or around Pecan, it's gonna have to be a major roadway of some sort, because truck traffic will, and other traffic will take that route.
Well, and on the east side there, that number 7, I think Ron brought it up, that we're coming in west of Crescent again.
it's coming in the city limits, Crescent, look for that.
Well, I mean, but west of where all the
West of,
population is.
west of the jam up.
Is there anything, the
straighten
camera
that
is
out?
kind of limiting, or the view is kind of limiting here. Is there some way to get over here, maybe to 171, where you could go back up to Crescent, or come down and catch 67 to Tollway? I don't even know what Johnson County looks like.
That even involved in Johnson County.
You're saying straighten this out.
Come this way.
The way Nanette mapped that was the least acquisition for right-of-way, because it was following existing roads.
Yeah.
Well,
It's just
but-
connecting roads to roads that are already there, but.
But I think that we're bringing more traffic trouble here, where I think most of the people are trying to get to Fort Worth.
Kevin, one of your challenges is gonna be 171 leaves Crescent and goes to Cleveland.
Right.
And right now it's basically a 60-mile-an-hour, no shoulder to speak of thing. But unless you come around east of it, if you come to 171, the bypass doesn't do anything for 171. So all of that traffic, then you're gonna funnel into the lighting crescent on this side of the railroad track. Unless you do a lot over in Johnson County to cross 171 and come up further.
See, I'm not familiar at all with what the Johnson County situation looks like over there. That's what I was
Yeah,
saying.
well, that's-
Is there?
that's what I'm saying
Does it get
is-
you better over to 67 or the
Well, the
tollway?
problem is that bypass becomes null and void if you do that.
Well,
Because then what happens, everybody piles into the intersection and still has a train problem.
I don't think you would be wise to try to load 171 up any more than it is. But I am very fond of the idea down to the south about getting over the Chisholm Trail Parkway.
Something that goes east.
Yeah.
Which is,
East of,
Give people an alternative way out
the,
of the county.
the trouble if you come up 171 as it is today, unless you do a lot of something else in Johnson County, there's no difference between getting to 171 as it is today and what's drawn up there is 7. In fact, 7 is better than 171 because at least it can take advantage of the 377 bypass where 171, the bypass totally ignores 171.
So is there nothing on the other side of 171 to direct you northeast out of that situation?
No, sir.
Not at all.
No.
See,
All the-
I'm totally.
Yeah.
unfamiliar
Old Top
with
Road is
Johnson
not very
County
wide.
is.
All that the bypass is strictly additional 377 lanes, if you will. And the bypass does not, and it was purposeful in their design for whatever reason, the bypass does not interconnect with 171. It goes over it but doesn't interconnect with it.
But that was at the request of the mayor at the time of building it, though,
It could have been.
because he did not want to kill the businesses in Crescent, so he wanted to funnel it through Crescent if they had business.
Yeah.
But there is a clover leaf design for that off-ramp and on-ramp at the bypass for a future date.
Yeah.
On 171.
Ron, I'd like to add that all the ones that we got identified on here that we've done so far, I hope the model shows that we might need some smaller roads. But all of them but number 4, we're looking at the capacity of being like a highway or FM road or something. Number 4 would be a local.
Can I ask a question about Pecan here, if you don't mind? Can you push that up a little bit? So you have one, looks like you're proposing a bridge over Lake Granbury down there by Indian Harbor and that little, that point by number 1. And you got Mambrino, that little bend. Is there a possibility you can propose a road from that bend to the bridge that you're talking? Now keep going, take your hand all the way up to number 1.
Yeah,
One,
number one.
This one up here?
This one.
yes, that one. So the little bend in Mambrino, just south of there, can you funnel traffic up to that bridge and out? Because you're funneling traffic into Pecan, it's a gridlock as it is. All those people going into Pecan, those little bridges you're talking about going through Ravenswood on the south side of it, that's a lot of traffic, try to get people out. And then have the Mambrino people trying to come up on the north side of it.
So what are you
It's-
saying?
The idea for that was to use power
Connect
plant
this?
port.
Yes,
So you're
yeah,
using
make a connection from there to
Well,
that.
there's already a road there.
So I mean,
You're
from
gonna have to
that,
make it, you're gonna have to make it a farm market like Mambrino.
Yes.
The traffic.
And it's got the right of way already. I mean, that's pretty wide right of way right there.
I mean, then you're flowing everybody out away from, it takes a lot of pressure off me in Pecan. I just have to worry about the people on the southern side.
But you're dumping them on Fall Creek.
You're dumping them the wrong, we want to dump them south out of Pecan.
Is that because of your saying of the nuclear?
No,
Because of Fall Creek.
we're saying that, we're saying that right now,
Well, they could go south.
no, see, what's been thought up till now is the only way out of Hood County to go east is 377. And the conversation is that we're gonna bottleneck ourselves because if
There
we
you go.
try to dump the whole county
You
into
got-
377, no good.
But you got
It's
two-
the south route down here.
You got, so what he just proposed there, that's what I'm talking about. Go over the bridge on Fall Creek, you have a choice. You can go north, you can go south, but you're not going through Pecan. You go then east to the proposed dotted line that you have that takes you up to 377, right?
You know, the trouble is, you're still west of Crescent.
And I have to point out that unless we found a big bucket of money, that number one is just something we want planned and not a map, so if it gets developed, we can make them reserve the land, but because it's spanning across that water, it's gonna be expensive.
I think is,
Wide as-
is the two number ones to the south and number 14, to me, they're all one and the same deal.
Yeah, I don't know why there's three
So,
ones.
so the, well, because these are all correlated with, issues and then proposed solutions in the summary. So number one, the proposed solution was, or the issue that was brought up was limited access to pecan plantation.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess what I'm saying, to me, I'm like you, and this is just one guy rattling over here. The north number one, that's a back burner deal, because it's, and you're trying to plow through Indian Harbor, and I don't think you do much for yourself right now there. But the two south number ones coupled with number 14 and getting over to 67 and CTP,
Yeah.
that to me is,
These are much more realistic to achieve, I think.
and I think I mean, the commissioners are the ones that set the priority, but I think those two south number ones and number 14 has got to be one of your top three.
It is worth pointing out that this number one that's over here is in Johnson County, so it wouldn't actually be as a part of Hood County's NTP.
Yeah.
It would be something that we could coordinate. It'd be something we could coordinate with Johnson County as they develop their NTP to see if they could incorporate that.
That north number one goes through where the old power plant was.
Right.
But yeah, the south number one and the 14,
Yeah, that
Sounds
number
like
one's
those are gonna be
another
high priorities.
Baltimore Harbor Bridge is what they,
But I really think that if TxDOT's gonna look at this, they're gonna look at taking the load off the 144 traffic through town, not people getting in and out of Pecan, and they're gonna take the least resistance. And yes, I think those number 14 and those that one is viable for local. I think when TxDOT looks at spending their money against this, they're gonna look how they can offload traffic out of 144, go around town and get it out. If they're gonna spend what they're gonna have to spend for that number one bridge, that's the road they'll pick versus those others.
I agree.
Because Membrano's already a two-lane, Farm Market Road, and then you just gotta add that bridge and go up. And if that light is put in it, where, Commissioner Wilson was talking about, it's gonna put all that traffic through Acton downtown.
And again, if you were going over that bridge, you'd go straight across and you could buy that little part of Acton and all those homes in there, just bypass that one on the south that you have there, Nanette.
Which one?
That one that's the hash coming out of north of Pecan, that road. Go back up to the bridge and go straight across to that.
Yeah, they could actually come off of where that one bridge is and go up a little bit on,
Oh, so you're saying.
around that bend, and then,
Yeah,
not
just
even that, before you even get to there, take a right,
Just go straight out from there, and that straight, keep going.
Oh, just go this
and
way.
then go right up there to that road, and then straight up 7.
Oh, so
That
you're
would
saying
cost
take-
more than the Crescent bypass.
You would?
That's some expensive homes you'd have to acquire.
In
No, I
there?
think you'd go up and come
Not
down
in
that
that
little
little
part of the
area.
creek, right there where her pen is.
You'd be going through,
Take that, right?
when you say cost more than Crescent Bypass, are you talking
You're
about
buying out Crescent
what
Road
it
Creek.
was gonna be when it started, or what it's gonna
You'd
be
be-
when it finished?
you'd be buying out Rolling Creek Ranch.
Oh, is this, the street that Amon's on? Russ
Mhm.
Court, Russ?
Yeah, but I think they'd go up there and take the bottom land.
Yeah, go south of that, yeah. Keep
No,
going.
they're not gonna, that's too expensive, they're gonna have to go north of that.
Through the county's 70 acres? Is there a restriction on that?
I don't know.
I know it's restricted to be used as a park, but
That would be more viable to them, and then build a 7 out to 377 as the loop that's been talked about for so many years. Now, that's gonna impact Indian
Jack, is
Harbor
there gonna be
and
development
Pecan with a tremendous amount of traffic, as well as get around there to the other side of, the north side of Indian Harbor there, De Cordova. But if you're gonna look at dollars and look at what the long term, that would probably be the route they'd go, especially after build a bridge.
And I did go to a HOA meeting right over here, and they were asking about this. He said, whatever happened to that? I said, well, it's on the plan, but it's very expensive.
Well, it's gonna be 10 times that if they don't do it, you know. if they do it
Just to
sooner.
switch gears, go to that one up there in Lipan, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, but where that connects on Music Road, we're gonna need a lot more money than that if we're gonna try to go through
Yeah, this,
Anthony's golf course.
yeah, that's, yeah, I think that's gonna be,
What, number
I was
18?
thinking that might not be the right spot, but,
That's, how many miles is that? Looks like a long.
It's a long stretch.
you know, you may be able to bring that
If you
off here.
If you could just bring it around where it misses that golf course.
Yeah, because that's the
Where's the
edge of
top?
Kevin's property right here, isn't it?
Yes.
I think
At
so.
least you're on the corner of a piece of property right here.
Where's the golf
Right there at Star Hall Court.
Oh.
I've never been back there. They don't let my kind back there.
That's invitation only.
course?
It's right here, Kevin.
It's in this area somewhere. I don't know. But, yeah, like I said, right here, I believe at the edge of Redemption Ranch. And it may be easier to acquire a little property on a property line through
So you're saying send that 18 over to the purple one?
there. Yeah, bring 18 to here, because this is already a highway.
Because they got enough money to make sure that never happens.
Is that Anthony?
Yeah. So if you could go that route somewhere in the Rocky Branch.
Okay. I think it is worth noting that
Makes it shorter too.
there are some things such as, you know, some additional entrance exit to Pecan Plantation, like this number 1 here on the south, that we can just incorporate. I mean, we don't need to have COG model or incorporate in there the mobility 2045 or 2050 that they're currently working on. We don't need all of the county's MTP to be incorporated in the model. If there's something that we know is important that we want to implement, we can include it on the MTP.
What spurs to looking into an outer loop or a location for one?
One thing, this right here, you know, not opposed to that, understand that this right here, where the active nature center is, was donated by from the feds, and it can never be developed. So we gotta be sure we skirt that. So it, you know, may have to come this down just a little bit, but where active nature center is, you know, is prohibited from development ever.
70 acres.
So
Go around.
that's just,
Did TxDOT ever draw up a bypass for the south at some point?
Just about where Power Plant Road is, but back when David Southern was living, they did it with $70 million then, just for the bridge.
I just think it'd be good to plan for an outer loop, that way before it gets developed, we can tell them, hey, that's where that's going.
So the loop around the 567 that you got, is that coming through Bowser Ranch there, y'all?
Yes.
How easy is that gonna be? She already hates that propel out there.
Well, that's already on TxDOT maps I had at the survey office.
It is?
Yeah.
It's on COG's Mobility 2045 map as well.
Okay. What year, Ryan?
It's on their 2045, they're currently updating that for the year 2050, but it's on their mod, it's in their model.
Yeah, you sent us that map of TxDOT's dreams.
Doesn't matter.
And between Biloxi and 377,
If it's on
the map I had
45,
showed it curving more.
Maybe maybe I didn't put that on.
I can
Look how long it took Chris.
Are you talking about the
It's
copy?
silly.
No, the text dots map for the original map for the loop, I did the survey on it, there was a lot of curves through Knox Ranch right there off 377.
Okay.
See, here's text
It's
dots.
not
green
green,
list.
this is your map.
Yeah, about that.
I just didn't bring mine back.
But you remember it.
Oh, I remember it.
So one of the things COG did mention is that once we either confirm these alternatives or, you know, prioritize them for what we want to continue. And this is not the final say, by the way. We're gonna have more workshops, and this is just saying, yes, we agree with the current proposals, at least to move forward and continue to evaluate them. But once we do confirm them and prioritize them, one of the things that we'll need to do is actually give a more detailed look at, you know, what some of the physical conflicts might be, gas wells, properties that we want to avoid, things that we're talking about today. Because what we've done right now is this effectively a napkin sketch on a map of where we want these to be, but we'll have to actually go and evaluate and vet to make sure it's actually in a viable alignment. We'll probably need to tweak alignments around certain things that we want to avoid. So that's kind of the next step that TMP is going to take once we get out of this meeting.
Well, is your purpose for this meeting is so that, did I understand it right, Ryan, so that our county commissioners can take this list of 18 or whatever's added to it and kind of force rank it?
Give it the thumbs up, and then if there's any that we want to, you know, put in like the top 10, we can prioritize.
So
And it does- we
that's
don't-
what you'd like to come out of today?
That's kind of the desired result, yes, sir.
Since most of these but four are where we're planning to be Class A roads, is the model gonna show, do we need people to hear to recommend connectors? Or is the model gonna tell you we need a connector? Like local roads?
Local roads are not going to be in COG's model. They're gonna be modeling like major collectors and up, major collectors, arterials, principal arterial, highway level.
Nah. That's what I wanted to ask, 'cause number 4 is the only one that's not that.
Right.
Is there any plan, and I know there wasn't one time, if you're gonna take the loop around where it turns back south, going back to 377?
There was before Harbor Lakes got put in.
I think originally, I think the city of Granbury's MTP currently shows it, but it comes right across
Takes out,
through here.
What's it
Back that
called?
way? Now, I was talking about going on the north side of the city or on the loop
Oh,
and bringing it back to 377,
up here.
that away somewhere.
That was looked at 25 years ago, but it's just like we've said a million times, it's not cost prohibitive. You can't buy Mallard Point and Bentwater out. I mean, you can't buy pecan houses out. You can't buy Water's Edge houses out. You can eminent domain them, but you can't afford it.
that's what we focused on, areas where there's existing right-of-ways and undeveloped areas.
Initially, where Commissioner Eagles' precinct and my precinct were, you were gonna go straight across to Porter Court. And Porter Court was gonna go up to Hideaway Bay behind HEB and tie back in. But Bentwater and Mallard Point were already platted, has houses in there, and those houses were estimated to be at the time around 450 to 500,000. Now they're gonna be closer to 750 to $1 million. And then by the time you put lawsuits involved in it, you're looking at $1.5 million for every property. And TxDOT is not going to do that. If I could say something here, what I would do is find small wins that you could get to relieve traffic in Commissioner Samuelson and Commissioner Wilson's precinct, to get out of Fall Creek Highway over to Highway 4, to be able to get back to Chisholm Trail. And even the one that's, I mean, I hate that it's 2045 to come around the loop there. I hate that that's that late long out, because those are little wins that people could move pretty quick and get around. But some of these are a pipe dream that none of us in this room will live to see. I know, it took 11 years to get Crescent to even turn dirt.
And still turning dirt.
And it took
And it's
five,
still not
5 years to build 3 miles of road, which ought to be an embarrassment to the state of Texas.
Yeah, and it isn't done yet.
So what I would do is try to find something that would do what he said at Pecan, and relieve their stress. And also what Commissioner Wilson said, get them over to Highway 4, because we heard TxDOT say they were gonna widen 4, get them back down to Godly area so you get the Chisholm Trail.
Yep.
And what Commissioner Samuelson said and what Kevin said about trying to get to Johnson County, when we tried to do Crescent, we tried to go to Johnson County side. Judge Harmon said, we feel your pain, but we got Chisholm Trail to deal with and I-35. We have no money to help you. So you're strangled. You can't spend money. You can't spend Hood County money in Johnson County.
No.
So, you know, there's your problem.
But if you lost your east
And
number one
this
down
bridge,
there,
just for information purposes, it's about an 85 foot climb from Sandy Beach area to to the other side. It's gonna be one of these,
Yeah,
literally.
it's
It is
It's
a high embankment right here at the river bend. So, I mean, that's just, that's information, because anybody hadn't looked at that. That is gonna be a high track across there.
They could probably excavate it down to 20, but they won't go no lower than that because of the floodplain.
See, most of this land right in here is underdeveloped at this point, because that's where the solar farm was gonna go, not gonna happen. But, so this, is a very viable, connection to an existing county road here. Problem is how do we get people out of the con, to here or somewhere else? And when you got 1,000 more homes going in the purple shade right there, is that still a correct number?
Yes.
Okay.
Johnson County's getting a lot of tax dollars out of that little tip too.
Yeah.
Can you expand again down at the south where number 1 is, where you're talking about, where Mr. Wilson was talking about? So why loop, I can see looping into Pecan, but why can't you go straight across to Johnson from there, from the bottom, the south of it, from 1 all the way over?
From here, you mean go
What-
over here?
Yes. Why loop everybody in through Pecan? Why don't you allow people in Pecan to get out and get into Johnson County along with anybody else?
Well, the
Because
idea
then you're gonna
was
have to
they
open
get
up a
on
con to the public.
326, and then they get on, there's a state road here somewhere that's,
But there's a lot of open
Down to
land.
67.
yeah, it turns into a state road here and then goes into 67.
67's right here.
But you can
you're
only
trying to
control
give
what you
away
got
for
in
your
Hood County. You
con
can't
people
control
to
Hood
get to
County.
67.
You can only control what you can do in Hood County. So once you
Yeah.
jump into another county, they don't do anything, then
Right. So
Yeah, but
this-
can you get to, I don't know enough about that area yet, Nanette, so can you get out of Pecan to where you come in at 205 on the backside back there where, can you get across to where the sand plant is? To that is a farm market road, 205 is, right?
Mhm.
Clint,
Where are you talking
Donald?
about?
Donald? Remember how we used to go down there to that development?
Currently, or is
Can,
with this?
is there enough area to get out of Pecan to get to 205?
Where is 205?
I don't know, we used to go down there and look at that, when we had that, where's the
it's
subdivision?
been orange.
Where's the subdivision you gotta go to Glen Rose to come back to?
It's,
Fort Spunky, that is right here,
Yeah, it's,
Fort Spunky.
you gotta go,
And deputies have to go there, the only way they can get there is 144 to 67, and then back in this way.
Okay, so where you just took your finger there, Commissioner Wilson, that's what I'm talking about. Is there a way to get out of Pecan to get to that road then to go back to 205?
No,
Here is
currently?
it.
no.
Could you make it?
Oh,
That's where you talk about that bridge.
Is gonna come in, that's what I'm talking about, is, 80, 85 foot, embankment line.
They don't do that.
But an 80, 85 embankment climb might be a lot cheaper than, it's definitely cheaper than a span across the lake.
Unless you cut it right here across the river, it's a narrow, this is a narrow point here.
You gotta keep in mind that all that's private roads dumping into that, so funding for that is gonna come from where?
I understand that, but that's another obstacle for another day. That's a population situation too, though.
Is the reason why COG and our conversations here have kind of ignored the ongoing stuff on Old Granbury Road, are y'all kind of thinking that that page is turned, that Eagle's got that running already?
So it actually is, it's underway.
So
You gotta go that.
it kind of doesn't fall into
You're
this
working on that.
this plan because it's sort of already taken care
It will
of.
be reflected on our MTP. But it's,
It's a
this
more-
is gonna be more of a regional, COG's doing a regional study, that's a detailed corridor study on Old Granbury Road that we're doing. So we're gonna be looking at, you know, specific developments that are occurring along Old Granbury Road, and we're gonna be modeling,
Okay,
level of service improvements for intersections like at Temple Hall, Meander,
That's a little more detailed
It's a little
level than
more
what
detailed.
this is.
bring this,
So that's why we really don't find ourselves today really talking about that.
yeah, bring this down a little bit, I want to go back up a little bit.
They say they've already won.
Once these homes are put in Pecan, we're going to end up, what, around 10,000 population in
Yes.
Pecan.
Yes, sir.
Now, what's the population between right here? What's that number? That's just,
21,000. We're talking about in that, because
Okay.
that's part of our, I'm Mike Barrett, I'm the fire chief for Pecan.
okay,
And we got enough road
21,000.
congestion as it is. You're trying to dump people in, I need people out.
I fully respect that. But what I'm saying, we got 10,000 people here, we got 21,000 in this area right here that we're gonna have to do something, need to do something with also.
In total, between the Little Peninsula of Pecan, you move out to Indian Harbor, it's probably gonna be about 21,000 between that.
Including the 10 in Pecan or not?
Yes,
Okay,
Pecan
so
in that area, it's
that's
gonna,
11,000, okay.
well, 21,000 in whole, all right? So let me just show you real quick.
Okay.
And there's new homes going up every day in Canyon Creek.
Yeah.
All of Pecan, Ted, and this area here is probably about 21,000.
Okay, okay.
Is the topography different anywhere along here?
Anywhere on the bend, it's usually higher on the opposite side.
Right, and that's what I was thinking, because you gotta bend this way, so that would kind of lead you to believe that this is a little bit higher, so is there some transition in here? Or maybe coming off of Ravenswood across this way would be less steep, but would topography be better for it, perhaps there? I know you have to build a little along the road, but you got.
We'd have to look and see what houses it would impact. I know
Yeah, they're all pretty up high up there.
Ben Anthony told me that they left gaps in the original plats to do that at some point, so I don't know where they're at.
Do what?
There's actually gaps. It'd be lots owned by the HOA to where they could actually do that if there was ever a road over there.
Yeah, I don't see County Road 205, 325, 326, 309, but there's no.
I think it's a county road, I mean, I think it's a farm
At
road.
them, at
That's
them,
2571, 2517.
199, 205.
There's
Go to
199.
the Sam,
205 goes to San Flan,
yeah,
right?
into that development.
199?
205, he said.
Orchards, was it Clint,
Mhm.
the development off of, we got
That's,
Stinson,
You're talking about the orchards?
the orchards,
Orchard on Brazos, yeah.
Orchards, yeah, that's
that's the,
199.
It is 199?
I think 199 is the one that goes to.
I thought 199 was out by the bridge.
That's what you take off of 67 and get back up in there for the orchard.
But at the T, I think it's,
205 comes to 7.
That's what I think.
Is that T in Somerville?
No, it does, and it comes back over.
Yeah, that T for those highways is in Somerville.
yeah.
Where's our Henry?
I don't know when they drew the county line, they didn't follow the river.
So where is this? Just another location where there
He's gonna-
probably is not a house.
I just marked it as something to look into.
He's gonna evaluate it.
Come in?
No, this is right below.
Yeah, so I'm trying to, new things that we brought up today, I'm just marking in blue to, so we can look into it
There's
later.
homes all, quite a few homes right in here, there's very few sparsely homes right here.
See, the right-of-way acquisition through Fort Spunky is not gonna be like it is anywhere else, because they call it worthless land.
Because that's kind of no man's land where your pen was, right? All
Right
right.
here?
No, but under, yeah, they're
Yeah,
all in
you
there.
know, that's, you know, under
Free
the no
pass.
development.
It's like all gravel, Dave. It's like a gravel pit area out in that area.
I
Yeah,
would
that's
say
the-
this needs to
Farm
be
market though, it's right, it's a county road there, it's 199.
Just
Farm
one
market,
here.
Could be.
It'd be
It's
like
farm
that.
market 199,
Put some solar panels up there, nice reflective gleams.
yeah. And it's farm market
Keep your finger
199.
there, Jack,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it turns the county road
Because,
through.
Looked at it for years.
325?
according to what I'm looking at right now on Google,
It's right there, it turns into county
there's
road.
very few homes right here, there are quite a few homes right along
307,
here.
yeah, that's
Before
a
you get down there to Sandy Beach.
Where's the quarry at? I don't know. Where's the quarry at?
Huh?
He's asking where the quarry is.
Where the what is?
Quarry gravel.
All this. That's what that is. It's, Forest Monkey's down here, it's pretty much, raw land, undeveloped.
And it's not ugly. I mean, it could be made into, if there were ways to.
If you built a road in there, it'd blow up in no time.
Yeah.
You better
it's
believe it.
pretty.
Because that's the only thing holding it back, is a dead end road right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
Hopefully
there
it
is
goes
a,
commercial.
this is an existing county road to this point. Then there is a dirt road going into the quarry right up through the middle of it. But it's not maintained, it's not, nothing on the county on that.
Yeah, the few houses that are out there are really pretty. Nice houses, especially in the orchards. Really
Right.
pretty.
But I'm just saying, at this point, there's very few homes right here
Mhm.
to come across the river here for another ingress and egress out of Pecan, to get you down to, 3326.
Nanette, where's
Then you can go south
Con's
to
RV park on that map?
67, it's about.
What?
Con's RV park,
Oh, it is,
they have a road extending to the river right across the street.
this is.
It's kind of right where you got that blue line in.
Isn't it right around here?
Yeah. There's a little
RV park.
jut out, where they
Yeah.
got paved that just goes to the
Yeah,
river.
somewhere right in here,
Yep.
there's you can see if you have the elevation on a map, there's a hill down, flat, and then a hill up, and it's right in that flat part is the RV park.
It is in a floodplain, but there is a road protruding towards the river right there.
Yeah, and right at it, right before it goes back up is a road, I guess a gravel area that could be a road to the left.
Okay.
Sorry, Jack, I'm taking it. I'll let you get your picture. Are there any on the map that we want to eliminate, or do we think? Yeah, it sounds like we're gonna look into tweaking some of these as we progress through the study, but are there any that we don't think we want to continue to pursue at this point?
Any suggestions? No?
The only one that I would ask is, I'm like Ron, I don't know that, are we benefiting anything going all the way from Fall Creek Highway or Highway 4 up to Crescent? Or should we stream people back towards Godly and Chisholm Trail? Jack or Nanette? I mean, because I'm like, well, I mean, it's gonna take a long time to fix the 77. The Crescent, all you're gonna do, all the loop was designed to do was just avoid the train and get around it. But then when you get around Crescent now, and Ron will tell you, and as soon as you get to Benbrook, you hit the same traffic jam. So my thought is like, where the blue line is there, I don't know if you got enough room to go from Rolling Creek back to 4. And I sure don't remember enough about going out the front gate of Pecan, going back to the right by the Boy Scout Ranch. Is there a Massey Road or Randall Road that you could cut back to 4?
Yeah, this goes,
Yeah, those are following existing roads except for it crosses over the,
Could you improve those to get back to 4 for people not having to go to Acton? I don't know. I've not been out there enough to know that.
there's a span between Massey and Randall that is not a road, but that, she pretty much followed the road on that one.
yeah.
So instead of going north, you're saying just go east.
That was my
This
thought,
area-
is get over to 67,
Here,
Chisholm Trail.
you know, part of that's already been established as a permanent fixture of Langdon's. You know, they're right up in this area here. So I think this little detour here may have to go more straight in because that's, you know, that's protected land right there where Langdon's at.
So Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, when Mickey Parsons was on the council along with somebody else, they tried to come off 377 at Rock Crusher Hill and go across the same way that Commissioner Wilson just showed back to Chisholm Trail, did they not, Ryan?
But that, you know, I just, and
That's in their comprehensive
Langdon, you
plan.
know, it's got, you know, there's, you know, protected there, you know, forever. We've already got that signed up with the state.
I will tell you that when it comes to TxDOT, they'll tell you restrictions don't apply to them.
Well, I mean, I'm just, you know, possible, you know, roadblock.
I mean, we do have some other roads that are currently on the county's MTP shown, so these other colored lines, like
Right.
this road here in green, Godly, is identified as an arterial FM road,
Right.
and that continues on as a collector east to Johnson. So these that are in red are just additional or new routes, but there are other routes that are already planned for on the existing MTP. Just, you guys are probably already aware of that, I just wanted to make sure we're thinking.
Well, I for sure think when you get into Johnson, the more you can hit to 67 CTP versus 171, you're way better off.
Yeah.
What about,
That was the idea about the one across the river is the shortest span also.
where does this go?
What is that, right?
That is Massey Road.
Oil fields, gas wells.
Yeah,
But that,
Yeah.
does that end up on Ford?
yeah, it's not a very.
Which, I can't tell what road
Towards
it is.
67? I mean, that's,
If it's not raining.
oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
I
a
mean-
really, there's a really low
Just south of
water
Godly.
crossing there, 2 of them.
Oh, that's way far south of Godly.
Ryan, where you
You get down there in that southwest corner of Johnson, Kevin, and I can't really tell here. You get into the retreat area and all, and it's like being in the North Dakota Badlands. You don't want to be down there.
Well, but is that not a good place to build a road through?
I think
Well, it
you're
is
north
across
of there.
the
I just don't know.
It would take some bridges.
Well, you're north of there because the retreat and all's south of 67, and you're staying north of 67 where you're going.
Well, my thought
That's pretty
is-
open down there.
My thought is, it seems to make sense to get something off of 377. If you get Chisholm Trail or 67 and direct some of that flow over that way, that seems to be.
Chisholm Trail is the place to try to get to, because that thing is designed to expand and grow, you know. Granted, they shaved pennies down toward Cleveland, making it one lane, but it's all designed to fairly easily spread out.
From my experience working in the private sector, we have no rail yard, we have no interstate. We had access to that Chisholm Trail that opens us up to some better companies coming in.
Yeah.
It
I
seems
mean,
like,
the whole Johnson County, north half of Johnson County boom's been driven by Chisholm Trail.
Mhm.
And everybody's always wanting to pay the fire departments and manufacturing jobs pay for those.
Yeah, my thought on this is just getting people off of Fall Creek. So if
That's
there's a
good.
better way to get people off of Fall Creek, because there's no, you guys know Fall Creek, the traffic, there's no way to widen it because of they don't have right of way,
Well,
and there's,
And I don't argue with that,
yeah.
I fear about-
Commissioner. I just think what you don't want to try to be doing is all your pecan growth and everything, trying to force it up that way. I mean, the current and growth problem that you're gonna have more up in Commissioner Wilson's area, the Day Cordova area and all, yeah, that's what I'm saying is already filled crescent up before the pecan people try to get up there, is kind of what I'm saying.
And all the new growth that's going in this purple area.
Yeah.
Wilson's.
But,
And with-
So, I mean, maybe we put both of them on there. and
well, I think
just-
you're gonna end up wanting to do both.
Yeah.
with the availability of egg water in that area, that's the most desirable development area because they can get higher densities. Higher densities mean more people.
Right. So this is the right spot for, that's exactly where the RV park is. So that would-
I'm gonna be very interested to see if we can get some information from Johnson County as they develop their MTP, because I think knowing what they've got planned and potentially being able to influence that. in
How are
some
they
way.
gonna put their deal together?
They're working with COG as well, actually. They're working with the same guys that we
I
are.
mean, but who is
And they
invited to this group over there?
They invited us, but it was during the commissioner's court, so
Oh,
I think we can influence what Johnson County does if we're gonna take and move out
The
of the
reason
current
I'm saying is,
directions.
I'm not only Hood County, I'm Johnson County.
so how come you haven't been invited?
Yeah, that's why I wondered, if there's one of these going on in Johnson County that I could help with this part, I wanna go to.
So I've talked to Johnson County's engineer. His name's Colt. Do you know Colt?
No, I don't know, Colt.
I forget what his last name
half is doing theirs, right?
It's either half or Freeze Nichols. I've talked to him and told him we want to collaborate with him and ask him to let me know when they've got something preliminary put together that we can look at and talk to him about. I can, continue to reach out and try to make that connection. And
Okay, well, I don't know that these guys won't be over there talking for them, but I've got a foot on both sides, is what I'm saying. And I don't even live in either of them.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you can, if you get invited to Johnson County's meetings and you can influence, some of these same concepts.
Who's the ramrod of it?
So Colt's their engineer. I think Freeze and Nichols is working with the same COG team that we are. And so
Okay.
that's another benefit is COG's concerned with the regional. They're not just concerned with Hood County
Yeah.
or Johnson County, they're concerned with how traffic's moving through the region. So hopefully, they'll be also a good advocate for,
Dishearn's retired, his replacement's pretty open-minded and helpful.
Okay.
but yeah, if you have any influence or you get word of
I'll
things
make
that
a
are
phone
taking
call.
place in Johnson County.
What's the engineer's name again?
His name is Colt. Let me see if I can find his last
I'll give him a call. The worst he tells me is to stay away.
name. Right? Let's see.
Not the mayor.
His name is Colt Frederick.
Frederick?
Friedrich.
Okay.
His,
Yeah,
his phone number is 817-202-2990.
Okay.
So,
All it costs me is a dime to call him.
that's right, yeah. And he did mention that I think they're very early on, just like we are. So I don't think they've got necessarily, as far as I know, anything developed yet. But starting the conversation early would be great, because then maybe we can have some influence on what they're.
Y'all don't have any trouble with me seeing where I get to going down that road, do you guys? I mean, I don't wanna overstep what I'm supposed to be doing.
I don't have any problem with it.
I think it's gonna be real important, because we don't wanna propose routes coming east that then they, we don't line up with what they're
Yeah.
doing on their side.
yeah.
So I would like to get that conversation started somehow, so if you can be an avenue to get.
I'll give it a whirl,
That'd be awesome.
as long as my commissioners here don't mind me running with it.
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
See where I get.
We haven't talked about two.
Okay, so 2 was regarding the Stroud Creek flooding.
Dorp Spring bypass.
Sprout Creek.
So I guess the concern, where is the flooding occurring? I know this is the creek,
Right here, yeah,
Can you see?
right here is the,
and that's blocking,
You get stranded.
I guess you get stranded because there's no,
yeah, that's the only way in and out there.
Not just stranded, I'll show you a picture.
You're
Yeah,
on top of your
yeah,
houses.
that's, No,
No,
got
the
a
city
picture of a
truck.
city truck washed off down
Oh,
there.
yeah, I saw that.
You're landlocked by a river and you're landlocked by the railroad. Well, that's two terrible things.
Yep.
And see, the elevation, all the water from this area right here is coming this way because of the elevation. So, you know, one of the things that we looked at, you know, in the past would be if you put like three good sized lake, holding retention lakes up in here on that ranch, that will help the water flow down on that watershed. Because, you know, to build a bridge across Stroud Creek right here, it's gonna have to be like a 6-story. You know, you'll have 10-foot wall of water coming down there, no problem. But if you put some, you know, lakes up here on this ranch,
Did you
I
know,
mean, if I owned that, I'd be loving somebody putting a lake in on it, you know, for the water.
Whose ranches are those?
It's double T,
It is?
yeah.
He said a 3-inch rain, it's got
Uh,
22
I talked to
thousand
the-
cubic
If
feet
Bob
per
Luss
second.
wants to go there and take a look at that one.
Good idea.
That's a lot more.
Bob Luss.
I
What's
talked
the
to,
current crossing structure there?
well,
Low water.
There's no culvert?
yeah, no.
That's
Can you
his,
put a
that's
culvert in there?
up his alley right there.
Those culverts would be huge.
Well, that's what I'm.
But
If
how
I
do
owned
we,
that, you know,
That's what I'm
that area,
thinking, is, you
Who
know,
pays
I'd be
for it?
maybe you'd put a,
Absolutely.
how do we get, how do we spend money?
It would take, according to Miller,
That's
you know, if you just
being
did a
private
swap,
property.
What's
I
the,
talked to-
Don,
take
what's that?
15,
We're
18,
talking
10,
water development
Always
board.
comes to core.
and it still ain't getting high water.
So
At that point,
maybe,
you're looking at.
there's possibly some grants out there that could.
Because,
Could be.
I mean, eventually, we still gonna get over,
What about?
but they can at least
We
get
already had
it.
that discussion with her.
ASCS office, what it used to be.
Used to be, yeah.
Hey, Kevin, ASCS office is what it used to be.
ASCS.
It's not, I'm asking Donald right now what it's called. Joe Lane used to come to court and talk about all the dams you had in the county. Y'all was just on your agenda about 2 times ago.
They changed
Yeah.
it.
Yesterday, yeah.
So that, they manage floodplains and they manage dams. So that would be a person that could start it, and then you could funnel money through a government entity that way, because they're going out to oversee that. The Brumleys have one out there on Ike's, where the Brumley property was. That's a conservation
lake.
dam
Yes.
and lake.
Yeah,
So if you, that's worth a try before you spend that kind of money.
okay, that's who we talked to. What's the name of that group? Golly, it was on the agenda yesterday.
Yeah.
Now Larry Wilkins is over at First National is running interference on that. But we can,
Somebody will know who it used to be. Raymond Lopez was out there, and then it was somebody else, but it was out there in the old Western Hills. Clint, help me,
Yes.
you were a surveyor then, help me.
No,
The conservation dam people.
But it used to be AgriLab.
No, it's ASCS.
Oh, it was Texas A&M something back when I remember.
Yeah, but then they were a subsidiary of A&M because they were ASCS. They built dams, and they did brush clearing, and they took out people that had water gaps that needed fences were being washed out.
They just had it on the agenda, what did you have on the agenda to?
no, the judge put, that was the one that Larry Wilkins is on the committee.
Well, and somebody said it was the wrong name, because it
Yeah,
was
it
supposed to be
got
Hood
tabled
County or
yesterday.
Hood
Parker Hood.
Yeah.
Well, now because the government's consolidated them to 2 and 3 counties because they,
Brazos Valley Soil
way to go.
Water Conservation.
I knew that commissioner knew the answer. I think she'd find it.
Just look on the agenda.
Soil conservation.
That's it.
That's gonna take a
There's
series
your
of
answer
conservation
for
lakes.
that building that retention pond.
It's gonna take a series of those suckers to slow that water down.
Yeah.
But Brumley's has a series of them on his.
Does he?
You ever been out there? He got like 3 of them that he thought that those,
Oh, yeah.
you know, off of the old Granbury Road.
Remember, yeah.
And then when one of them was leaking, they came to court, we spent $500. And they spent like $5,000, but we had to have 10% match because it's a federal program.
That's the biggest watershed that centralizes right there at Stroud's Creek in the county.
Yeah, it's
Is that on Walnut Creek?
19 square miles of watershed that comes through about 50.
It'd be worth looking into. It might save a lot of money on
Yeah.
a bridge.
Yeah.
What is
Good
that?
idea, Kevin.
What is NRCS? National, it says USDA NRCS.
Natural resources.
CRF is the conservation deal.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what's
National
going on on
Resource
their land.
Conservation
Yes.
Service.
Double T get free water for their cows.
Yeah. Yeah, I have talked to JD out there, I don't know much, he's talked to the owners about it, but, we've looked for ways across that ranch and everything else, so maybe that's it, just some attention.
Just to mitigate the water.
So I guess we could leave this new route on here for now, but maybe we can remove it.
So before Commissioner Andrews came in, the only way that they would let you out to Coke Court, Donald's sitting here, he can answer it, but Commissioner Simpson went to him, we tried, and even on, sitting on Syntax Rail District, Fort Worth Western would not, and TxDOT would not approve an at-grade crossing. It was going to have to be a flyover crossing to do it out there. Because you could come out of the back gate of right there down where Tim Flowers used to live at Strauss Creek, go right down the right of way and then come across at Coke Court,
Yep.
right out by Harold Price's house there by Coke Court. But TxDOT and the railroad would not let you have an at-grade crossing.
Well, and apparently somebody went down there, I mean, there's a big pile of dirt down there at the end of Topeka.
Well, because what they did is they cut the fence and they were living in there, and I'm not gonna say anybody that might know something about that, but they helped them get out of there, okay? And the owner of that area put the dirt there to keep people from doing what we were talking about.
That
Okay.
pipe yard, there's
It wasn't
actually,
the pipe yard that did it.
there's actually a access easement out of that pipe yard underneath that trestle to Strauss Creek.
They was trying to help people get out of there, and then people didn't want to come down the road because it was made a traffic issue, so.
Number 2 had 2 purposes though. It was just killing 2 birds with 1 stone, because eventually 4 and all that gets developed out there, there's no way to expand 4, so it was gonna reroute them back to the loop.
I don't think it's a bad idea, that's not your quick fix, but that's not a bad idea.
So regarding the railroad crossings, we did discuss, because the city of Granbury is proposing, or looking into a grade separated crossing at Meander and Old Granbury Road, over here. And COG confirmed the railroad's policy is essentially, they don't allow any new at-grade crossings unless you're gonna be removing 2 existing crossings.
I can vouch for that.
What about going under?
I don't know about tunneling under.
Yeah, that was the policy that was at the railroad.
I think you'd be back in the water if you tried to go under it down there.
Sometimes though, they will allow you a new at-grade if you're gonna be putting in an overpass somewhere else, in the area. But they're real strict on allowing any additional new at-grade at crossings.
Steve, don't you have a buddy over there?
Steve's on the commission.
I'm just telling you, don't y'all remember how long it took them to do Chisholm and Cleburne? They stopped the whole project because Cleburne was gonna go, they made them do an elevated overpass.
This
If
one-
y'all don't know it, the railroad was here before the Buffaloes were, if y'all don't know that.
And they're quick to tell you that.
Yeah.
Nothing was funnier than when Sheriff Deeds was gonna be put in his own jail. Crossing arms.
That was the day that Roger was gonna cut the arms off with a chainsaw, and I said, that's a federal offense, Roger, I wouldn't do that.
That contractor said, I'll have you arrested.
That's what he said, I was standing right there.
I said, good luck with that. I'll be in my jail before.
I've seen Commissioner Eagle mad, myself mad, Don Liddy mad, but I've never seen Roger that mad.
That's one time I wished I was there.
Wish I'd have had a video.
Wished I had a chainsaw.
Chris?
So Nanette, I know you've got what did you say, 2:45
Yes.
doctor's appointment?
Mhm.
It sounds to me like there aren't any really that we want to remove at this point. We want to continue looking into these alternatives we've already received feedback from. Maybe there's a few tweaks or additional routes that we want to implement that we can then discuss at workshop 2. In terms of priorities, I'm hearing, let me zoom out a little bit.
14 and the 2 south ones.
The 2 south ones the 2 south ones, which would be additional access to pecan plantation. Number 14, which would provide access to County Road 325. Number 7, either a combination of an additional north-south route, or Cabo north-south plus east-west to Chisholm Trail is a priority there east of Fall Creek to hopefully route people around Crescent would be the idea. Number 4, which is right here kind of on the southwest corner of Granbury, providing additional school access is a priority. I think the big one that Ron, you mentioned was Old Granbury Road. We didn't really discuss that much today, but that is, I mean, we've already got the wheels in motion to do a detailed study on that.
Yeah, one thing you gotta realize though is on your map there, you know, where you've got a big heavy red line drawn all the way up to Crescent. What you got under working right now, to the best of my knowledge, is only kind of coming over to industrial.
That's correct.
That's true.
That's correct.
So, where you've got a big red line suggesting that something's going on east of industrial, I don't think, unless Commissioner Eagle knows something I don't know, I don't think anybody's talking about anything over there.
One concern I had about that, the area he's talking about, is right there where Fall Creek goes under Old Granbury Road. There's a heck of a bend. I don't know how you'd take that and straighten that out.
Yeah.
Well, by the time you get to industrial, so many people are bleeding off, back up to 377 off M&M, industrial, et cetera.
Yeah.
And there's not that many people that
Back
keep
east
going
end,
east from there.
Y'all got it kind of straightened out a little bit.
So are you saying that this needs to not be a bold red line there? Is that what you're saying?
Is what he's
I don't, I would, yes, that's, I guess what I'm saying.
It's trying to
that
reflect the current status, yeah.
Ryan suggested that the Old Granbury Road destruct, part of this thing was sort of that ship already sailed. And my whole point was, there's no ship ever got on the water east of
But COG's still got to run the model for it, right?
industrial. There's,
We can ask them to.
and
Look, Ron doesn't like the big line all the way to Crescent, so get that off.
Well, I think,
I don't,
He doesn't like that
so Ron,
big
you're
red
saying
line.
that that's still a concern from industrial north of Crescent.
well, I'm saying that if what that big red line communicates is that you're trying to parallel 377 all the way into Crescent, that's not what's going on right now.
So whatever the next level down color is,
And,
Yeah, and I don't know what,
and making that big red line from industrial all the way into Crescent, into something.
Industrial about here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, industrial's right there.
He doesn't like the thick red line from here on.
so help me understand, why do you not like the big red line?
That's
Well, I'm
true.
just saying,
Still got to model it, right?
you and my conversation was that the Old Granbury work is already underway.
From 377 to industrial, we're doing the detailed study.
That's right. And I don't have any trouble with that, because what Commissioner Eagle and what the court is trying to do is look forward to the 377 work in town and how jammed up the east side of town is, okay? Now, if what we're saying is you're trying then to take Old Granbury Road and make it kind of a parallel to 377 to increase capacity on 377 from industrial up to Crescent, yeah, that's gonna be a problem, but the problem really starts kind of Crescent on up. And I guess my suggestion is, I don't know that adding traffic capacity to Old Granbury Road east of industrial is doing a whole lot for people in Hood County. Maybe it is, but I don't think it is.
So
The
that's,
development going in
You
right
do?
here.
Yes, sir, you do. You
You
are
got
right.
Phase
It does
one,
some,
phase one's 134 homes,
that's
all
right.
the 200 homes right there.
well, I
You're
think
right. So
that's-
it's okay. I'm not trying to make a big deal of bright
No, but I
red
mean,
line.
you know, this is, you know,
It's-
200 homes going in, 2,000 homes
It's
going in
2,000,
right here.
2,000.
You're,
This side
you
of
are,
Rock
you are
Creek.
right, and you are legit, and there's a lot of stuff going on in between 377 and
Isn't that
Old
right?
Granbury besides what
And the only
Commissioner
interchange is
Wilson.
What's gonna hook up to the bypass?
I shut up. I stand corrected.
but
It's access to the only interchange there is on
But are
377.
the goal lines supposed to know what's currently
Live on
there.
Old Granbury Road.
Well, that's what I was wanting to understand, because
I like going that way.
the bold lines aren't necessarily saying what's currently in progress, those are just identifying potential issues that we want to solve.
Okay, good
The bold
enough.
lines? Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I chewed up 5 minutes of everybody's time for nothing.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
now that you're the mayor, we had to give you that time,
Yeah.
so that's okay.
Sorry.
we do have, I think, Ron, we've received, I think, 3 different development plats and plans from Tina, I guess, before she left.
Yeah, there's
There-
stuff going in on
there
Old
was quite a
Granbury
bit of
Road. Yeah,
development going
it's
on.
fine. No, I'm shutting
I
up.
have way out with them, just like you do pecan.
Yeah, yeah. Go to the next.
So we've got, yeah, number 1, number 14, 7, number 4, number 6 was OGR, Old Granbury Road, and then number 2 was the Stroud Creek flooding. Those are what I'm hearing today that we've discussed. Were there any others that we want to say are, I mean, obviously, you've got number 5, which is 377 congestion, and TxDOT's, you know, they're dragging their feet. It's been, it's taken a while, but there are plans for improvements to 377, so we know that's a priority.
As long as they don't hire the contractors for the bypass.
They're gonna work on Temple Hall Highway too, right?
Zachary got
They already
it.
started on that.
Yeah, start on that.
Not that one, but yes, but not,
Zachary just went out this.
yeah, but not that.
Those are holding company.
Oh, okay.
I think it's too small to be on this list, but number, where is it? North Crescent Highway thing. Number 16,
The railroad crossing?
yeah,
Yep.
I don't know that that's a big ticket item in this whole thing, but
Well, I've looked at it, and I think that's a surefire thing we want to have on the NTP in terms of an improvement.
absolutely.
It's not something that COG needs to model, so it's probably not something that we need to mention.
I've
to
got
them.
more crosses on the side of that highway than some
That's an awful
cemeteries.
crossing. I looked at it, yeah, it's awful. It's a very, very bad situation there. So,
Just the angle it hits.
at the
Yeah,
angle
the
is
angle.
terrible, yeah. And there's just not a good, there's no good safety measures there in place, and it's,
Nothing.
so I think this is a situation, or would be an example of something we definitely want to have on the NTP, but probably not something that COG necessarily needs to be modeled.
No,
It's just,
no,
we need to
that's,
make an improvement here.
it's kind of small potatoes compared to what we're talking about here. Unless it happens to be you that got hit there.
The train vehicles.
No, it's just the way the stupid thing's built. You
Got an angle.
launch and you go, it curves, and if it's wet, you slide, you launch over it.
What do we think about number 10, the bypass, the Toller bypass?
You told her people here.
We don't care about them.
Just reminds you you're on camera, does that fly? I thought that was already talked about by TxDOT though, Ryan. I mean, years ago, is that not on their model?
In '99, I did the survey for it, but it never went no further.
I mean,
Is that not what Colony, were they not incorporating that into Colony Road?
They were gonna try to follow old Highway 10 after they got to where they was gonna turn off, but,
I mean,
which is Colony.
it hurts to have it on there as a future plan.
But maybe it doesn't make our top 5 or top 10 list of near-term priorities.
To ask Mr. Andrews.
Well, that whole stretch of 377 over there, man.
That east connection though, that would be a no on that loop because you're gonna build an overpass over that railroad. So you're gonna have to come down on the other side of the railroad.
You're gonna have to be closer into the city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Somewhere right in there.
yeah, you don't wanna create a crossing.
Was that Beatport?
Yeah.
That's part of 377, it has the most accidents, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, we could include that as a priority. I mean, we don't really have that many. I think we've talked about
Which ones?
6
figure
so
that's
far,
Colony
so
Road.
that would be
So
number
which
7.
are the ones that you're saying?
I've got identified that we've talked about today are number 1, the pecan plantation access, number 14, the access south to County Road 325, Number 7, which would include additional north-south, east-west access points to Chisholm Trail. Number 4, which was on the southwest corner of Granbury, the school access.
In a few years, you could-
Number 6, which is Old Granbury Road.
Hmm?
When that sand plant runs out of sand, it'd be cheap to go
Number
over
2,
the
which was the Stroud
Yeah.
Creek flooding. And then we just talked about number 10, which is the Toller bypass.
When I designed that, it was designed for 20 years.
So that-
Some other priorities that we don't really need to talk about, I guess, would be number 5, which is the 377 improvements.
What about 3?
3 is the extension of the loop.
Yeah.
COG's already got that in their model, so I don't think it's something that we need to bring up with them. Number 15 is already in progress. That's the Crescent bypass.
Somebody hit the falls, but
Yeah.
Well, they want to see the bridge.
So I think we've got a pretty good list, unless there's any others that we want to talk about. But I think the good feedback is, it sounds like we're all in agreement with what the current feedback that we've gotten is, so.
These 2 are just to also help,
Not the east.
like have additional roads to take traffic off of 377.
I would say those are very similar to something like number 16 and number 1, things that we want to include on the MTP, but probably not things we want COG to model from the regional model standpoint.
And what about this number 1? I'm still confused when this number 1 and this number 1. So are you putting both of them as priority? Or
Number 1 and number 14, based on today's conversation, were higher priority. The south number 1 and number 14 were higher priority than
that number 1.
this number 1, just because of the financial burden that this project would have.
okay.
The south number 1 and this number 14, I can renumber these so we don't
Yeah,
have
I would rather.
to distinguish between
that
3
one
number
not
1s.
be number 1 also, 'cause that's confusing.
But these are probably more practical, higher likelihood of a win in the near term in terms of getting some improvements.
The one across the
on
lake, the only reason we want it on a map is so we can earmark it there, I guess, develop that it's gonna be there.
Look at the topo on for the elevation for that bridge coming across down where that blue line is, right there.
That would probably be a better spot.
We look what the topo is on that.
Right, so we might move this dash line over here to where we got the blue line.
It's more road, but it might be cheaper because of the elevation.
Well, and another thing to potentially consider, this is a park, and BRA is over here. I don't know, I mean, I know that's the deepest part of the whole lake right here, but, land acquisition probably wouldn't be much. The park on one side, BRA on the other, I don't know.
The structure itself, though, at that crossing, just because of the width of the river, is gonna be real expensive,
And the elevation difference.
and the elevations.
Is
The
it,
bridges, the cost of bridges is generally, when we estimate them, it's per square foot of slab. And so anytime you're talking about a longer bridge, that's just really driving the price up. So
well, I don't think it's gonna be as long as this bridge.
It's got a pretty level elevation difference.
Where are we going?
Right here.
either one of those is
Just
gonna
right
be a
there
real
by the
expensive,
dam.
either one of those would be very expensive projects. We can, I mean, like Clint said, we can have it on there.
Just so if it's not on there and somebody wants to develop it, we can't tell them to respect it, it's gonna be there.
Isn't that the common marina? What's your point there?
Right here.
Yeah.
It's in that area, but the BRA is,
It's right
the
across.
park, is this the park or is this?
The park's on the
No,
other
here's
side.
the park.
Yeah, that's the
Yes.
park right
The
there.
BRA is like right here.
Yeah, and then that's right by the common marina.
Yeah.
So we wanna throw that on there as something to talk about at workshop too.
That's a long span, I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt.
Well, I don't know, so,
And then
like I
there's,
said, it doesn't seem like as much as the other one,
there's also,
the northern one coming off of
Yeah, there's not, I mean, I drive by it all the time, but I don't think there's much space between, there's, so, there's VRA, and then there's, electrical infrastructure, and then there's the bluffs. I mean, I don't know that there's, Mike, do you know where I'm talking about?
Yes.
Going out the back gate,
Yes.
there's the
Yes, ma'am.
VRA, there's
Yeah.
some electrical towers, and then there's the bluffs.
There's a power station in there,
Yeah,
transforming station.
I don't
And there's part of
see
pecan
any.
that goes underneath the road.
That-
Big empty lot.
That is just, that culvert was designed so if the water level gets too high, they blow a portion of Lake Granbury and they flood it out. That's just a culvert is what it is.
Right there next
And it goes back to the south side of the Brazos. Yeah, yeah, but the problem is my boat is in that area and it slipped. So if they blow that out, my boat's going with it.
And that, were y'all wanting to take a vote today on anything, or you think the discussion's been enough?
I mean, I just made it a special called meeting in case prioritizing is making a decision. I didn't want to. So, I mean, if we want to make a motion to proceed with the decisions made today on the priorities, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it, just to make sure we're not violating anything.
Well, see, I'm not sure we need to, but we can.
That's
Okay.
kind of what I was thinking.
I don't think it's needed, but if y'all wanted to,
We got a motion and a second on the table, to move forward with the priorities as stated. The two south ones, 14, 7, 4, 6, and 2, is that, did I hear that correctly? We got a motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, I guess that's what it'll be then.